event that we do every year. And basically, what we do is we choose a number of vulnerability assessment software. And then what we did is we built a series of virtual machines with broken apps, and we went ahead and tested them with this software. We have produced a report that will be out soon. This report has been done before. It was done last year, and actually it's quoted on the Hacker Handbook. If you buy the book, the Hacker Handbook, there is a link actually to our first spun-off report. We will be releasing a second report very soon, and also we'll be announcing the CFP for the Hack Miami conference. For those who don't know or are new, the Hack Miami conference is in Miami Beach. And basically what we try to do is to bring a series of people from the community, either local or national. We actually have presenters from Russia as well last year. For some reason we had gathered some interest from the special agencies. They keep showing up, and that's actually okay, at least for me. So Mono is an event that we do every year, and basically what we do is we choose a number of vulnerability assessment software. And then what we did is we built a series of and we went ahead and tested them with this software. We have produced a report that will be out soon. I hear myself. Okay. So
sorry.
Basically, the DCFP, what we want, if you're a local researcher, this is the opportunity. We would like to do this conference in a sense where local researcher, it gives you the opportunity to be accepted on a higher and bigger conference. That has happened before, where people that was accepted at Hack Miami had then gone forward and been accepted on bigger conferences, and we feel glad and happy that we can help you. I guess you guys saw these videos. The video today we were supposed to have the incident response. Unfortunately, Brian had an issue, an emergency. It's not going to be here. So we have a couple of apparently we have a presentation about big data and threat intelligence that Mr. Mulmain can give. So we'll in a minute. I also have something else that I wanted to sort of challenge the guys that are here to do. We have iOS. I don't know if you guys ever research exploitation on Mac OS X or iOS. That's some of the things that I do on my work. And right now I am conducting a research on exploitation against iOS and against OS X. And I do have a piece of code that's supposed to be interpreted for iOS. So we can do that as well after the presentation, where if you are able to make this code work, iOS, if you can make this interpreter code work, I will guarantee that I will quote you on my next paper. Right? My papers are not anything. They are picked up by AP, they're picked up by Reuters. We were just so I'm giving you, obviously it's not. I'm going to quote you if you are able to do this, and then explain to us how you made it work. Which was it? Yeah. The reflection. Yeah. So it replaced it. Right? So we noticed is basically you grab the president, created a TXT record when you were doing the
that's an IRC
way of that one actually went outstanding. Right. So the last one, which is a Yumba. I don't know if you saw it on Thursday. The Yumba web engines, which is some crafted code that goes into a SUSE botnet. Some of them have what is called the ATS engine. It's the automatic transfer system engine. And basically what this does is you go into your bank. You are in your session.
For real.
You are infected with SUSE, right? Then what SUSE does is detects that you're going to your bank, injects
one second. Wait.
into the page. Depending
no one's going to hack you.
How gullible you
I got
are,
all my shit hidden.
Respond or put it in. Hijacks your session as it is active, goes into your account, transfer the money.
To my house, that's why.
Right? Because remember, the banks are getting smarter. if you get out of your session, and then there is a so your session closed, they will cancel it. Attacker to leave the amount of money unmodified, so you don't know that the money is actually being transferred somewhere. And then during your session, your money is being transferred somewhere.
And the fields are propagated, like it's visible that they're being propagated.
Is there channels that you auto-join?
Because that's very sophisticated, very clever. Unfortunately, known for malicious purposes, but that's one of the things that we just published from research.
So I just need that up on the screen when it's my turn to talk. Well, I'm gonna let it run and see if I can find some stuff.
That can be used.
This is big data.
There needs some work to be done to work.
Is that
on
what
the
you want,
iOS.
big data?
We can do this after the presentation. If you're good at it, and you want to give it a shot, by all means.
I thought you wanted to see
I'll
what
be glad to.
people do with
provide
this
it.
stolen shit.
There is some people wanting to see the movie tonight, right?
I don't know. You gotta ask these guys.
Anybody going to the
Alright, so big data.
Snowden movie? No.
Where's it at?
In Cinema O at 7:30 p.m.
Is it sold out? No.
No, I don't think so.
Actually, the last one's like a
I had
9 something.
slides.
For big data?
7:30 showing with Winwood.
Yeah, the one in Winwood.
There's a link on Rod and Hack Miami have already reached the link.
Actually, can you go to twitter.com/HackMiami?
HackMiami.com?
No, /Twitter.com.
What I read interaction in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Alright, so here's the old cinema today at 7:30, right? And here's the actual. Is this movie Citizen
It's a book, that's what I'm saying. So I guess it's a movie originally.
So any questions so far?
Yeah, you only got another 3 hours and 23 minutes to buy your tickets. I told you that.
Anybody that's here have a question?
MiamiCon?
The Hack Miami Con tickets will be selling probably right after. Yeah, go to Hack Miami.
Selling out on like whenever it opens.
But we'll be announcing soon. We'll have for the IT Palooza.
When will you have flyers by? I don't know what they get.
What is IT Palooza? I think it's December 5th.
December 5th.
December 4th. Okay, I should have flyers for you guys to take the credit.
Cool.
Remind me next week. We'll be selling the tickets probably right after the
ITBlues.com.
Cool.
Alright, so if we don't have any other questions, I'll leave you with Mr.
Go to pull up ITPalooza.com.
Yeah, how do you spell Palooza? P-L-O-O?
Oh no, December 5th, I believe.
No, you have a quick birthday.
Maybe. P-A-L-O-O-Z-A or some shit. Yeah, I gotta Hack Miami. I already signed up. I'll go out all the I mean, I when they come and hang out and browse.
Right, so this is
Yeah, I need some flyers.
flyers and
I need paraphernalia to give the people.
Alright, so next week I need to send it to Brent, but I should have enough. So go. So here we're gonna have the CFP soon, and the tickets pro, and then basically go back here. The IT Palooza is to obviously attract people to come to our meetings, to collaborate, and obviously to sponsor. Alright. For those who wonder what happened with the command and control case, they are ready. Yes, sir.
Mention we're doing the capture of the flag on November 29th. We've lost some messages on the CTF group as well. I think there's a...
Right, what's the URL?
Something about plumbing. Not plumbing.
Let me see your phone.
The new topic.
Oh my god, for real dot plumbing?
Yeah, there you go.
Alright, so there is this capture the flag. For those who don't know, there is a Hack Miami Google group where we gather for this stuff, and we try to play as many capture the flag games as possible. In some of them we actually have done pretty well, like the CISO 2 years. Please let me know. You don't have to be an expert. You to be willing to do the research and put yourself into the top. The rest we really don't have a requirement or knowledge or skill. So this is this got money though.
Yeah, it looks like
yeah,
it.
there's some money. BTC,
Yeah.
Yeah, we want all the BTC.
More BTC.
So let's go back to IT Palooza. So this event is coming soon.
VIP pass for IT Palooza. Come see me. I'll give you the URL. Free drinks. You got to buy. So you do have to bring $12. I'm not. We're buying $40 at the door. Well, yeah, but with this VIP pass, you get free drinks. Anyway, come see me. I'll get you the link.
Appreciate it. Good. So we suggest you go to this event. We're gonna have a table there. Obviously, collaborate and sit at the table and try to spread the word of what we do and try to bring more people in. Like I was saying, the Command and Control version 4 and the new game, which is going to be called Command and Capture, is ready. There are a number of events that are lining up for 2015, and as of now, I'm counting 5.
You heard me?
Okay? But this is not without others that may come or fall through. So I had decided that probably the best thing is not to release it this year. So I'm going to hold it probably until B-Sides Orlando, which is an event that we all go and we have a lot of participation in. So I may not release it this year. I don't think I will.
I know.
But the games are ready though. What we need, we're gonna have now.
What is this guy?
Games that are defensive in nature. The games that are offensive. The Command and Control will continue to have its offensive nature. There's plenty of stuff. I have introduced a series of challenges that you would love, and that have to do a lot with crypto and Stego. A lot of open source intelligence. The theme for K&K is actually terrorism, and it's based on a true story. So you're going to find it very interesting as you go and look at what happened. Obviously, stuff is public, so they'll come ask you or tell you somebody that shouldn't. But this you will find you find it. Bad guys use the internet as well to communicate among themselves. The defensive game basically would be what you would do if they give you the compromised machines from K&K. They'll tell you, find out how they did it, what exploits they used, what kind of commands did they type when they got into this machine, what type of encryption did they use, crack this password, or what is hidden in this picture, what is hidden in this email, what communication was produced from this board to this other machine. That's the type of challenges that we're going to have. What I have done is extend it more to the defensive part, and then we'll continue having the offensive part of the Command and Control. And it's going to be released, obviously. I'm expecting it to be either B-Sides Orlando or B-Sides or Hack Miami Conference. There are some talks about doing a conference in New York as well, the latter part of the year. We're just in the initial stages of it, but we should tell you more soon. Is Alex there?
One second. Hey Alex, he's listening to us on the call on there.
Tell him if he wants to say anything about Hack Conference.
Yo, what's up?
What communication was produced from this board to this organization?
Alex, you should copy.
Or pause the video.
Obviously, I'm expecting it to be either B-Sides Orlando or B-Sides or Hack Miami Conference. There are some talks about doing a conference in New York as well, the latter part of the year. We're just in the initial stages.
They're watching the YouTube stream right now.
Is Alex there?
One second.
All right, Alex, you there? Alex, are you there?
1, 2, 3.
That's it.
Yes, I am.
Hey Alex,
Yo, I'm here in the YouTube
he's listening to us on the call on there.
Okay, tell if you want about the Hack Up and go ahead.
Like we do with Hack Miami, we do we do the annual. We want to set it up in Hack Gotham, so basically starting a chapter there that bi-weekly meetings. We essentially just have the year-long conference up in New York once a year, and there's a lot of interest out there for it, and I'm looking for we're still looking for dates for it. But there's a lot of interest from the community out there that wants to actually organize it and make it happen. And Rod was even saying there's some contacts up there as well. So the crowd is there and the interest is there. We just need to actually build it.
We gotta do like streaming events with them as well, and we can have like tandem meetings. You know what I mean?
Right, that's what we're trying to do. I'm not sure, Alex, at one point you're going to be with the Hack Amsterdam crowd, and maybe we should do like a Skype thing.
Yeah, so we can all meet each other and talk about whatever.
Yeah, that would be awesome to do that as well. We're going to try to do this more often. So,
I'm trying to come up with a technique to set that up.
Okay, are you ready, Greg? Okay, go for it then.
Now, which one did you want to big data, or how to utilize stolen credit cards, or
Let's not do this.
scalability,
Let's stick with the big data.
or scalability, or how to use Amazon.
This is on YouTube. Let's not.
For the public, it's documented in
All right. So I have like zero time to prepare. Fortunately, I don't have the actual presentation. If you go to your Skype, I sent you a link. Just double click that one. There we go. And then just hit this maximize. I always click allow when any of these pop up. ActiveX.
It wasn't ActiveX.
All right. Now there's a couple videos online and stuff. And basically, this is big data at Riot Games, which is the company that runs a big game called League of Legends. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Talk louder.
We all heard it.
So we get the dots all the time. So go ahead to the next slide. We kind of go through these slides. Going. So this presentation is about that. Basically, how they went from a single instance of MySQL to making a big Hadoop hive and then throwing a MySQL in there. So a little bit about. So they were founded in 2006 by some people that made some custom games inside of Warcraft 3, Frozen Throne, Dota. So they took that game and everybody just started playing that, and they're like, screw Warcraft 3, we're going to be playing Dota all day, which is like a custom game inside of the game that makes you map editing and stuff. And then they're like, well, we should just make it into an actual game, and it grew. And it grew to, I think we'll do the next slide. 2012 numbers, I think. So we're in 2014, so they went even way higher. So out of 32.5 million registered accounts, 11.5. So that's about what, a third of all their users that signed up. So it gives you kind of like an estimate on like the website. What the hell keeps calling?
Hack Miami.
Oh, that guy. And these are how many play daily out of those monthly logins. So they got a lot of addicted people. This is now, these numbers are actually 3 million concurrent a day. And this is at 72 million in 2014. So in less than like a year, when this was made, it doubled. So you get a sense of 3 million people online at one time takes some really smart engineering, and in those numbers, all on there without failing and breaking and stuff like this. And when these people are connected, it's not like you're downloading a website. You are streaming with data going back and forth. Like you would use a gig a day, 10 minutes, like 20 minutes. Actions in the game get stored into some data view. Check their game out that they played 30 games ago, or 30 days ago, or a year ago, and they extract all these stats and everything. So
What's it do?
we'll get to it.
All right.
What's up in here?
I'm just wondering what it is.
Okay, so some history. I think I went through some of this. Keep going. It's like you could do a simple question inside of all this data, and since there's so much, it actually might be a complex question because you're just trying to figure out like how many people have the hair color of red. Okay, but when you're looking through 800 million something records, well, you have to kind of like narrow that down. So anyway, so they originally started in just in North America, and I think they're saying this in the slides because since then they opened up like in Europe, Latin America, China, all these different locations because people weren't complaining when they were playing on the other side of the world because the game's super famous and everybody's playing for all the world. Their connection time sucked. So they had originally servers in LA, and to solve the North American latency issue, because they didn't have East or West or anything, they just had NA, right? So it was West, NA, okay? West screwed, Mexico, like, yeah, I don't know. 2 truckfuls of servers just to make that in Chicago. Now they got a Latin America and a South America servers, and those servers are actually here in Miami.
Wow.
So if you technically want to go play and you want a good ping, go play. But you'll be in Miami, you'll have the quickest ping, it doesn't matter.
Is it a Terramark?
I can't tell you where it is, but it's in Miami. We're responding directly all production to MySQL Slave. So basically, they have replicas of this SQL server. So basically, they have like 100 servers. They have one that just does their writes, and all the other ones are like read only, which was cool, which is good. But when you try to move to other things, other locations, and they try to come in, you're going to need those quicker writes, not the reads, because reads is like static. So in a database, there's only 4 things you can do. There's select, which is your reading. There's insert, which means I'm creating a new record in there. So if you think of it as like Excel, I got a new row. And then there's update. I want to change something in that row, like change value. And then there's delete. Delete that row. Now, delete is rarely ever used because they like to store all the data and keep it, and no matter what. If you delete your account, your shit's still in there, okay? Even though you deleted your account, because they don't like them gaps because there's keys. So keys are like numbers, okay? So they're pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And lookups really. So instead of it saying, okay, I want to go look in this Excel spreadsheet for the word Greg, it would already know that, okay, in this row that it's looking for, Greg is on number 4. So it's always going to be number 4, so I can remember that. So I don't have to do a search or anything, so it's going to go find that key, number 4, and it'll get all the rest of the data. So his name's Greg, and here's his last name, here's his email, here's your password, and all this shit. Okay, and he's number 4. So that row, instead of it looking straight down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, now there's gaps because I deleted a row. So now there's 1, 2, 5. So now I kind of screwed it up. So the keys are kind of worthless. So you always want to keep, a foreign key, without having to find a field to match to another field with this one. Because now, if I would do the word Greg, for example, now worksheet, what is it like 8 character that you store? So that's 4 times 8, because GREG and 8 bytes instead of a number, which is just one little thing. So it's good to use the integers. So anyway, keep going. So they weren't on a dedicated originally, they were a startup company. That's what I mean. Like the company I'm working with right now, I'm doing a poker company. I just bought one server, and that's a good server. It has like 32 gigs of RAM, but we're on this one. They all share their own thing, right? But they're all using the one box, you know. So yeah, so they moved it off, and everything. So now when you do that though, now you don't have that local utilizing bandwidth to give you a gift card. You know, how much bandwidth am I using to talk to my database? Which was our first problem, is we were using Amazon Web Services. And apparently Amazon, just learned this, when you spin up a little server inside of Amazon, or virtual machines, you can put as much CPU, as much RAM, and however, whatever you want, disk space. But as far as your network, they got low, and then 10 gigs. Fine, cool. All right, because I got fucking people. I need some bandwidth, right? It's like a large with like 4 terabytes of RAM, and like it's like I don't need all that shit. I just need the bandwidth. I can't do it, right? So, but I need like 5 of these servers. Now I'm splitting my SQL, my web, and all that, but I need slow. Amazon don't tell me. So, you know, it's like 10 meg, which is great. And then you have to write these cookbooks, and they become really complex to scale it out.
They have like
Grow.
instance, right? But you can do it
Another
automatically.
instance.
Use the provisioning API on Apple.
Low.
That's what
And
we're
when you're a
talking about
startup
scalability.
company, you have a dedicated machine.
Sure.
Okay? You're going to be paying a lot less than Amazon when you're starting up.
Right.
Now, when you become like a huge company, you can take that time and build it on Amazon, and that's when you would go to Amazon. It's better to go and get the go buy a dedicated and then run your stuff in there. And they'll tell you this. Like I've been to these big conferences, and there's another whole presentation about just that. But anyway, so going on, this is all about big data. So they did their reports in Excel. So they exported out in Excel. They didn't have these graphical interfaces and stuff because, you know, they're moving dedicated. They didn't have Amazon and stuff like that. It's going to go this way. So they were more focusing on what do their users want. Okay, so their users they want to be able to play. They want to play a game, right? So that requires availability. Okay, when they connect, they want to be able to. I had a little checkbox here. I think it was in my other slide that I had. It's availability, and they wanted features, and they wanted no lag, and they also wanted statistics on what happened during that game at the end of it, so they can see who's better. So those are the 4 things. They don't care about us like scaling it or whatever. They just want those things. So we had to compromise that. We had to do it fast. So they created parallel installations, which is like using a load balancer and then just spinning up replicas of the same machine and balance them in, and they're all replicate of the same machine. Which became bad because then you got to figure out, then you got to figure out about sessions. When somebody connects to a server, and then this other dude that connected, and he's going to be on this server over here, but they need to communicate, and they can't really because now those machines are going to communicate, and now you're sucking up more bandwidth again. And remember, I only have low and moderate, so you know you can fall down into that problem again. Keep going. Just go through these slides. So I'm going to find some good ones.
That's conserving in the
Like, you know, how their growth, the crazy growth of them starting up. Keep going.
Cheers, man. Living it up, wow. I'm out.
So they needed a change for their MySQL. MySQL wasn't doing it anymore. The database grew so big, like MySQL just starts failing at some certain point where there's like so many rows of data. It just like if you put something in Excel, I think you only have like X amount of rows or something, and then good luck turning it on, it'll just like say crash, not respond to you or whatever. Same thing. they kind of needed to go into like a different thing. And I'm not just saying it's not MySQL, it's anything. Oracle, they all do it. At some point, they can only store so much when it tries to find a transaction in there. So how do you break up that data? Well, first you make good tables. Your tables and your data, so you're not scaling out to the right of stuff. You're making more columns instead of rows, which is cool. And things like that. Keep going. All right, so let's go with the solution. So, and then also cost effective. So like, cool, we go with MS SQL, which could support a little bit more rows, but then I have to pay like $500,000 licensing fee, and I gotta run all my shit on Microsoft, which is gonna break. That's just a whole other. You don't even want to open that up. So that's not gonna work. Oracle costs like even more than Microsoft. So, but you could run it on Red Hat, which is free. You know, that's free. But it's all right. But then we'd have to change all the code and stuff like that. So we wanted to stay with MySQL, and so like, all right, well, what can we put in the middle? And so we went looking around the internet, you know. So we searched and we looked at all these different solutions out there, and then we found some companies like that were doing like medical data and stuff. We're like, well, who has the most data? Well, medical people do, and like that's pretty much it. So like, what do they use? So, so like, let's do that. So we had some engineers go look at their stuff, and we need to do it fast because our players are down. They can't connect. We're limiting how many people can log in at X amount of time and stuff like that. So keep going. So we found a couple of solutions, and it wasn't elegant at first. And then we actually changed it like, I think, 4 different times before we found one that we actually liked. Which is cool because nobody really done it before. Nobody utilized these software, these open source, we're looking for free shit, and nobody utilized them at the scale that we would be using them. Even the medical people, like we're doing a lot more than the medical people. So we needed to do, you know, we got platform, we got our auditing, and then we got the game. So there was a few things that we had to store. We had to store audits, make sure people were cheating, you know, and the history player, the record and stuff. So it's kind of like an archival kind of deal. So they can look up their stats, or other players' stats, or what they've heard like that. And then of course the platform, which is actually just like people logging in data and stuff like that, and then the actual game itself while you're playing. So there's something about, all right, so 3 million concurrent people divided by 10, which is like 300, something like that, games going on at any given moment. So there's 300,000 games, and each game is 10 people. So you got to think like that's a lot of shit going on. It was like 500,000, 500,000, like 10, whatever. So it wasn't too bad. So we went with like Pentaho, a custom little thing that we wrote, and Swoop. Cool. But it allowed us to do stuff. So it allowed us to write like a Hive data warehouse. And we allow our analyst people like just go in there and look at the stuff and buy time. Because analyst people, the audit, you're looking at shit that's already there. You're not making changes to the stuff. You're looking, so it's read only. So you're doing that select statement that I was talking about. So you only can change something. So that's cool for Hives, because those are just basically flat files. So it's basically like a little text file that you can store up on Amazon when you get bigger in the S3, which is, you know, a big file system. And that's cool because you just write to this little text file, a notepad or whatever, you know, the stuff does it, you know, the game. You write to a file, leave it there, cool, it's there forever, it'll never be changed because this dude killed this guy 10 times and you can't change that because we can't go back in time and replay that game. So I don't need to store that in the SQL database where I need to be changing stuff like where this person's position is in the game. He's at XYZ coordinates, right? Because like in the game, he's moving all the time. So I need to go update that so it can be pushed out to the other players in the game so they know where he is on the screen and stuff. So that's like real time. It's always changing and stuff like that. So that's stuff that needs to be stored here in the MySQL. But I don't need to know his name. His name is always going to be Fred or Bob or whatever, right? So that's not going to be changed. So let me store that in a flat file and not in the database, and then that's where you get this big hive. So the analysts people, they can go in there and they can just pull stuff out of the hive. They're not making these calls to here, so now there's no more bandwidth coming out of here. So I don't have to worry about it being sucked up with all the bandwidth and the transaction stuff and things like that. And then I don't even know what the tabloid thing is. I think it's like a little gooey looking thing. Keep going. So they can statistically look at it, analyze what's going on. So now they added like more servers to like, all right, cool. So we just like replicate these and go down. So scalability. So they all consist of these three things. Keep going. So they put the temp, and then when it's done, like there's some data that don't need to be stored. At the end of the game, I don't need to know where this dude's XYZ coordinates at 3 minutes and 55 seconds during the game and whatever, because it's worthless. They're not playing a game anymore, right? So all that data, we're like, oh cool, so maybe we should just build another database for that stuff that we're not going to store long term, and it doesn't need to be used by players after the game or even players outside of the game. Because people that are outside of the game and they're playing a different game, and, well, when I say different game, like a different match. So, because each game consists of 10 people, right? So now, and they can all just talk and go through there to figure out where they are in the thing. So, when you think of big data, you just got to think of what can I break down? What can I split away from what I need to archive in a long sense, and what do I need to make live to people moment, and what people need to access that data at that given moment, and how can I split all that up? So keep going. Yeah, we're doing like 200,000 queries every 0.2 milliseconds or something like that. It's crazy. Yeah, like our CPU, like. So we partitioned out, the hive and like 5 different things, and like we're like, okay, cool. So we saw all these little flat files over here and here, and we got all these different things doing this, and one's for the game, one's for like the long-term statistical things, and one's for this. So keep going. And then we sub those down before. I think so. It's like breaking it down. So you want to, the more you break down the data, the less I have to search into it. So instead of having like a terabyte, each one of these are probably like 3 terabytes, and then they grew, so now these are like 3 terabytes. But what it was is like we had this terabyte of data. Okay, cool. So let's break that down, because when we search, we can just search through this or this or this or this, like their name or whatever. So we just put everything with their name over here and this one. So it's more breaking it down. So it's like databases within databases within databases, which made it faster because a little bit over here. So keep going. So it's layered. Optimize this input output. Cool. Guess we had SSDs. I wish. But we can't. Like, really, have you seen an SSD that's like 50 terabytes? Keep going. Oh, wait, go back. There's actually a good little thing. So, so maps are like those keys that I was kind of talking about. And it has like better compression and stuff. So eventually we moved to Hadoop. I guess there was like a slide in here where it showed like we moved off of the Scoop or whatever the hell it was. The Hadoop.
So when they're saying the compression was better, it was faster for the transact because the CPU.
Well, what it had, like, all right, so MySQL, there's a database, right? So there's files that, so the database. Okay, you think of database, cool. Well, there's a file on your hard drive somewhere that makes the database, right? They're like called like .mqd or something, MDQ, I think it is, something like that. It's MySQL. Well, the way they put stuff in there, it's not like word for word. They use like a character, and that represents this shit and this over here. You know, just like if you'd open up like a picture file, it has all this weird shit in it, right? So Hadoop, when you open it up, it has all the weird shit in it, but their weird shit is actually a better created than other databases. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I can kind of dumb it down, but in theory, that's basically what it is. Keep going. So the block sizes, so like I could store like when I uncompress that file, it'll actually make like a 10 gig file out of like a I think it's like a 400 meg file. Okay, so I have a 10 gig database, 400 megs of a text file. So from them, every night they'll grab some stuff and they'll throw some stuff down into read-only MySQL engines. So when somebody goes and selects stuff, they'll grab it from the MySQL because it's faster to pull things from there than to look through all this data. Again, it's just about breaking stuff down. So keep going. Yeah, there's a couple more zeros on that. There's a ton of them. Keep going. So now is when they're looking at like trying to query the data and looking at it and stuff, which really anything in your Hive, you kind of want to just be in your Hive and not query it. You want it more for storage. So you want stuff there, and you don't want to read from it a lot. And then that's why we moved to putting the stuff that needs to be read from to the MySQL. But temporarily, we'll store it in the Hive, and then when the game's over or whatever, then we'll push it into MySQL. Because people aren't going to look for the game statistics. Like how many times that you kill somebody in the game. The game's not over, so that's irrelevant. You can't look up how many times, because the game's not over, right? Store that in the game. When the game's over, cool. Put it in MySQL. Now you go look at it up and it'll be in MySQL. So we put it from the short term to the long term storage. And then it's also kind of a flip side too, because you want some of your long term storage to go into your Hive also, because but it's not going to be accessed that much. So to think about it like how many times this player logged in, you know? But that's the long term. That's for like our analyst people to look at, like if he has a bug, something to submit, or a ticket, or investigating, or something. So that's not going to be accessed by players, you know. So we can store that in the Hive. Cool. So it's all about selecting what you need, where it should be, how many times it's going to be accessed, just keep going. And so keep going.
Next.
I'm not gonna say go. I'm not gonna say goodbye. Here's a picture of the game. That's Riven. He's taking out some raids.
Ooh.
That's actually awful.
That's really good.
Why she's all here? That's cool. I mean, so, all right. So, just to sum up real quick, this is the champion select screen. So, of course, everybody's going to need to be able to see this stuff. And this is, before the game starts, you get to pick which champion you want, which player you want to play in our game. You got all these people. Now, all these people, they're going to be stored in their stack, right? They're not going to change unless like we make an update to the game. You got to build a person and stuff. So that's cool. It's not going to be updated. So we're going to store that into our Hadoop. You know, because Hadoop is just insert and read. There's no, Hadoop don't allow you to update. I don't know if it allows you to delete. I'm sure it probably does. But there's basically insert and read. Okay, the select. So, cool. So we're going to store all that in our Hadoop. And now, these stuff are going to be in the MySQL. Well, this player, here's his name. It's all fuzzed out. He picked Draven. So he got this character. So that needs to be accessible really quick, as we need to insert that into a database. Now it needs to be selected or seen from everybody else. However, he didn't lock in his champion yet. So that means he can update, because now he can just pick somebody else, and now his champion will change to somebody else, so he locks it in. So that data goes straight into MySQL because we're doing the update. Ding, 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 and it's being selected from these guys really quick. And then once the game, he locks it in, that's when it goes stored in the Hadoop, and then everybody will read it from the Hadoop after it's locked in. So it's different timing also. So thinking about big data, let's bring it back to the medical field because we all got kind of a handle on that and not video games, who knows. When I'm at the doctor's office or whatever, I'm doing x-rays. Through the CAT scan, let's do the brain in my arm, whatever. Because it's not changed anymore. It's not like, oh, my shit didn't change. Scanner anymore, you know. So that's kind of like I'm understanding. Look, some more interesting. So during the game and shit. So cool item, it's locked in. Where do you think that would go? It'd be like this.
MySQL this time. So does it save there in the whole game?
It doesn't like that. So exactly. So those are the things we looked at. So the other players in the game has to know what this guy bought, you know, in the game, so they know what he's doing, and they can see him, and we have to get those stats and stuff during the game. So we have to think. So we thought about all these things. So we kind of split all these things, you know, flat files and a long-term story. Keep going. So story of Shen. What? Do any of y'all even know, like, League of Legends? Anybody ever played League of Legends? You play League? Alright, so there's some cool things in here. Yordles are what we made these champions. Are like kind of trolling, and we track them for promotion purposes. Like we have a thing where we tell you how many times Teemo died in one day. How many people pick Teemo to play as him? Which I pick Teemo all the time. And people just like to look at those statistics. So we don't do it for all the champions. We do some of the champions. So when I was telling you about those long-term storages and short-term storages and things that we have to update and rewrite and stuff, well, we made a couple extra databases on the side so we could actually test our throughput, our clicks per minute, how many transactions per second are going on, what if we were storing this data and stuff like that. And we decided to do it by tracking these stupid champions and utilizing what we got in their research to better the game, to do our 4 points, which is to make the game availability, you know, what the players want. So keep going. Try to get through the rest of them really quickly. The rest of the slides. So every couple weeks we try to make a new champion, a new item, new something in the game, and we update all our stuff. And that just keeps the players happy because it's all about making the players happy. Keep going. I don't think the rest is really even talking about big data, but it's just kind of really talking about
Hope you like a scorching game
and stuff. And we utilize this data to make those changes in the game. So we need to be able to access this data, and we need to figure out what do we want to store, and figure out, is there something wrong with this champion? Why isn't nobody playing him? Or why is this champion always being banned and nobody is allowed to play him because the other teams never want him to be played? Is he not a fair champion? Is he not a fair player to pick versus other champions? Like we want it all balanced. So we want this guy we want everybody to be played equally between all of our players, right? So there's always this champion that's like overpowering and he wants to kill everybody and he's like just the best to play and everything. So we want to track that. So another database. All right, cool. So we need to figure out statistics, and those were some of the things that we needed to store. So, and those aren't that players aren't going to see that stuff. It's for us, so we don't need to make it really like live time, fast servers or anything, but we're storing it. And we archive it and look at it as we go. So it's just more data. More data and how we use the data and why we need the data and we just want the data. So we get the data, we look at it, we analyze it, we build these little GUI tools, and pull shit up and make these little graphs and stuff. And to do that, that's why we get we utilize these other things.
With that, with the statistics that you guys use to, and they use to adjust the different players, does someone actually like look at these large statistics and make sense of it, or do you guys have like another like software?
Yeah, there's like 10 dudes.
Oh, okay.
And that's all they do. Just look at these graphs, and little. Same thing they do at the stock center, wherever they work.
Oh, okay.
They look at bandwidth charts all day or something, I'm sure. And they look for like spikes or decreases and anomalies and shit like that. So we like to look at a straight line, and then we see like shit going like weird. Okay, so that's all they do is figure stuff out and look at these charts and visualize it.
Have they thought about like? I don't know if it's something that eventually they work on where like they use like some kind of function or like to where it'd be able to just utilize that data on by recommendations.
They do. We asked them. We asked them like, which champion should we have our programmers start working on? Because nobody's playing it.
Like you mean you ask the guys that are analyzing? No, I mean like. Is there a way for the data, like for something else to analyze that?
Well, developers have no idea what the hell this shit is. So the analyzers look at it and write out reports. And then the reports go to like managers and shit. And then the managers like figure out stuff, and then they like go on the forums and community and feedback. You know? And it all gets like collaborated together. And then somebody tells developers to do this, or project manager or whatever. Right? So does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to see like, is there a way that like possibly like a program could just do the work of that person and actually analyze the data and how to get better with that?
Well, you could. You could.
Oh, I had my laptop playing. That's
We also look for what's on the forums. Ziggle. And like you Google something inside of this Jizzle, I think it was. And what it does, I support forums. And if it has like the players on team such and such, well, it'll rewrite that sentence to these kids in the ghetto made a game and they did this, right? And it's like, shizzle happened, like, you know, because a player killed this player, popped the cat and then ass and shit. Like, so it like rewrote the whole thing and like shizzleness. So it makes my life interesting. Yeah. About the Hive a little bit, which is the big collection of static stuff, like Newt. Hive is for massive jobs, so you want to store your bulk shit in there. So you have terabytes of crap. You don't want bajillion rows in your MySQL stored. Okay, because of the little flat files that go out. And basically it's just as fast as your whatever your hard drive space. So wherever you want. Keep going. So here's some of the things we wanted to know about. So what the change, you know, champions and skins and stuff, because we're always making changes to like graphics and shit like that. People buy because that's where we make our money. People pay to change your shit, right? They want to look cool in the game, so they buy these little different things. So, keep going. Yeah, and then we, of course, we look at the win loss rate, you know, which champions are overpowering, which ones are. I already went through a lot of this talk, so we can probably go, but we created a bunch of data, and we looked through it all, and, you know, so when I told about those keys earlier, Hive's not good for that. A bunch of data, it doesn't really give a shit. It's 1, 2, 3, if you're in numerical order. Doesn't care. SQL, loves that shit. However, SQL, massive shit, not good. So that's basically the comparison between like when you do it out of Hive and MySQL. So you need to look up shit quick. MySQL, if you don't really need the shit, and the stuff will be there, and there's a lot of it, put it in the Hive.
All right, so matchmaking and regional metrics.
Oh yeah, this match only I remember that was
Yeah, we developed an MMR and all kinds of stuff.
it's pretty cool. Oh gosh, make it. There's even a champion that says that. Cool matchmaking. That's the hard part.
So, yeah, it is. It's really not that much big data, but we need the data to figure out who to match you against. Because when you look at their data, all their matches, what lane plays mid as or ADC Ash. Okay, so support Sonya, which wasn't allowed. But Teemo Jungle, that's me. Nobody plays Teemo Jungle, so I get matched pretty quickly. So what we do is when you queue up for a game, we figure out what champion do you usually play. They do play. You play this champion 9 out of your 10 last games, all this stuff. This is pretty much. You can tell because you either killed a bunch of stuff in the jungle or you killed a bunch of crap on the top lane because we know which minions you killed. And stuff like this. So we use this stuff to figure out where you're at, and we try to put these people on your to build the team in the current meta. And then we have to figure out the current meta. More data. Figure out, okay, well, where's everybody playing? Usually a team has like this 2 people or killing all these bottom shit, or one dude usually over here, or one person killing the middle shit, or one person killing the top shit. Cool, that makes it 5 people on the team. So we had to store all that data. More data. Data is useful. So we decided to store it. And we use that data now for matchmaking. So we match. And then we got to find your opposing team. So now we got to go find 5 other random idiots to play. So it's all about the data, how we can use the data. We're storing the damn data. What can we build to the players so we can utilize that data that we're storing? So we come up with things every other day. Oh, we got all this data. Like, can we players depending on how many. So yeah, Macedonia, if I was in Florida, I match other people up that were kind of in the East Coast, so they all have the same play style. So there won't be somebody that has a real advantage in the game. They had a server, and we made APIs to it and figured it out, and then we still always do it and look for it every time. Your statistics, you're like looking at statistics from 24 hours ago. So much like I believe New Relic does that. They have like about a 5-minute delay, 30-minute delay on New Relic when I don't know if you know what New Relic is, but basically you install stuff on your server, and somebody comes to your website, grabs all the logs and shit that this dude like issued because he looked at your website, and it sends that off to newrelic.com, and New Relic has a nice cool little graph and little stuff, but it has a 5-minute delay. You can't look at it just on your website. So they have a delay, like, oh cool. It doesn't really affect 24 hours is cool, so we archive that stuff off, so they don't need a database, which made our database quicker, slowed it down, and it's 100% CPU again, because we got 5 billion queries a second, and we're like, holy cow, and 4.9 billion of those queries were from our analytic people. So, those are a read-only database. So you gotta look at that. Who's querying? Is it somebody in your job? You got New Relics installed. New Relics queries your stuff. So you installed some statistical program. Maybe that's causing some load, and you probably don't want to do that. So there you go. So we did I don't know that. I guess they just needed file structure and hard drive and stuff like that. Figure out, make it faster, more accessible. So one big issue is we have routers failing. There's 30% of our users right there because the router fails. will your database hold when those people come over? Will your databases hold when you have 30% more traffic added to it instantaneously? So you got to look at your loads, and you don't ever want them going to 70%. If you're at 70%, you should be like frantically running around with your head cut off and spinning up a new server as quickly as you can. Now, when you're a bigger company, that's when you're on Amazon, it takes maybe like 2 minutes to spin up a new server, which is way too long anyway. But well, that's when cookbooks come into play, and you can get that down to maybe like 20 seconds or so. I think we got it down to like 7 seconds, where we can spin up a new server instantly to take the load over on a thing. 7 seconds, it's phenomenal. Data center, you're a new company, you're looking for an extra amount of money, you're a data center, it may take you 2 weeks, 7 to 10 business days, I believe, to get that new dedicated server in there. So when your chips start getting 40, like 30% the CPU, go ahead and go order that new server again. Amazon, cool, 70%, awesome. Spin up another server. We look at it, you know, because you got to think something could fail at that instant, and something will go wrong. It will go wrong. There's something always going wrong. Even in code, like there's, I mean, I could write a hello world right now. I'm sure I can find a bug in it. And you gotta think, maybe that bug will only happen 1 in a million times, right? One on that hello world, 1 in a million times, and that bug will happen. Cool. 3 million concurrent users, that bug is going to hit every minute. Okay? And so it's a big effect. So you'll find your bugs quickly. And there's going to be bugs, and you gotta compensate for them. So you always gotta have those backups. And I don't know if this talks directly about that, but that's one of the lessons that we really learned is about those bugs when you have a. This matters with big data. If you have big data, you probably have a lot of users accessing your stuff, your application, or whatever it may be. And that's just one of the big problems with that is, you know, is some there's always a router breaking. So, routers. All right, keep going. Wait, did we already? 1 year ahead.
Yeah, right.
So I guess that's sort of like what I was kind of talking about. You know, you're looking at your load. Go ahead and get some stuff in there. We released a bunch of cookbooks at GitHub. They're all outdated. Feel free to use them.
Or you only like looking 1 year ahead versus like
because that's only the statistics that we had, and not to mention the 1 year ahead. Like our statistics like went up, so like it was like horrible.
We
so
used
our
that
1 year
for
ahead
test.
was really like we should have looked at 5 years
Wednesday,
ahead
or not Wednesday,
and then
Thursday,
divided by
right.
that by 5.
I guess since you guys like exponential growth, it's hard to be like
So we had to move very quickly, and that's why one of the reasons why we went to Hadoop, because it was really simple to set up, and it had those interfaces to merge and work with the other things, just like you would do with a load balancer or whatnot. It was easily integrated into our system because it used the same code as MySQL. Like we just had to change the connection string, you know, and we're done. So, is there any more slides? Yeah, there's like 7. Future? Well, we're in the future now. It's a little slide. So none of this makes sense. So challenge. Go back again. Go back. I need to read the bottom part. Yeah, the chat logs. Which we have to store for 5 years apparently.
You can store a chat log for 5 years.
According to the law, we have to store chat logs. So remember that when you sign it, it's like put chat in your app, okay? And the chat system, it's a whole nother presentation. I think we have like 40 slides on our chat system on how we evolved that. Like we originally was using something else. We went to Jabber databases on that. We're like, well, player experience first. You know what we got to do. Gamers. So yeah, this is like one of the offices where I'm playing video games.
Shameless hiring.
Really like it.
What was this?
That's cute.
That's before everyone.
Looks better than Akamai, right?
That's HTML that says that.
So probably everyone wanted to work together. That's when Hans.
Yeah, I've been working for them for about 4 years now. I basically there. I do remote login and shit. Which now we have the biggest TeamSpeak server in the world. Officially. Which is awesome.
So what do you
It's
think? You think you can do it or
15,000
not?
concurrent people. TeamSpeak does not scale. There ain't shit we can do about it because it's closed source. So, it does not scale.
The article that I found first was installing the Jupyter.
Any questions, any ideas on the data? If you ever work for a company that needs to store stuff, it's all about segment sort storage and what kind of system, MySQL or Hadoop, like a flat file system or a relational site. Think about it. You gotta think of your backups and stuff like that, and what happens if the database goes in the middle of the night, you're sleeping, birthday. All right, Rob.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much if you step up for
That was on the fly. Like
I improvised. Thank you very much. We unfortunately, President McCollum, we probably would reschedule that for another day. We'll be announcing soon what the next meeting is about. We probably had, I think we have 2 or 3 more meetings for the rest of the year. So,
I'm going to like 2 of those meetings.
remember that after the year ends, we will be going back and doing it again. That's how we do this. That's how we get this content. Right? So if you're thinking about subjects covered, all we ask is that you do a thorough investigation, whatever subject you're doing, and we'll help you. Right? And many of the people that you don't see today are working at having great jobs right now because they started like you. They just persisted, they studied, they researched, and eventually they got somewhere. That's what we want to do with everybody that's coming here. So we'll be announcing soon what the next meeting is about, and if there is any event before the end of the year. The rest, before we're going to stop streaming right now, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start working on the iOS interpreter. I have a couple of guys at that table that have. We can do this. We're not going to stream this part because obviously it's explosive. Yeah, we're not ready to go fully involved in these things, but that's pretty much it. Thank you.
And if you guys do want to do your presentation and you don't want to be on camera, just let me know. Just turn on the camera and just whatever just have your voice. Or if you don't want it at all, just let us know ahead of time so we could do something for you. People on YouTube. So, right?
Why does it have you talk?
Yeah, that's all. Alright, so you want to bring your computer or
about being simple?
What else do you need?
Okay, so.
Do you stop streaming already?
Just hit the stop button.
Okay, so let's go ahead and